debris of a successful afternoon. It might be a rather unusual way to start a video, but in fact, we're in the Rangers dressing room exactly 1 hour after they completed one of the greatest triumphs in the club's history. Because on Saturday, the 11th of May, they went out to face Aberdeen, and Rangers needed to win 2 points to get the championship. And they were facing adversity, some of the key players sitting in the stand watching the game. And during that 90 minutes, they actually had 2 players stretchered off, but they rose triumphantly to the occasion. And that's the evidence of it, the league championship trophy. Now, you don't win this piece of silverware by merely playing well over one game. It's got to be the entire season, and it's that we now wish to reflect.
It's a very sad day for me.
The raising of the league flag has always been considered the top priority at Ibrox, so they brought in new faces at the start of the season, like Mark Hateley, who cost $1 million from Monaco. Peter Hoekstra came from 20 Enschede for $300,000. And to add steel to midfield, Terry Hullock arrived from Millwall, again for £300,000. And Oleg Kuznetsov had already been booked by Rangers from Dynamo Kiev for $1.2 million in July, but didn't arrive until October. From the opening game against Dunfermline, it was clear Rangers were confident they could retain their title.
Brown pushing up on the left to take the pass from Spackman. That's towards Hateley. The opener for Rangers. Just 10 minutes on the clock. And any lingering doubts among the Rangers fans about Mark Hateley quickly dispelled. They're in by Cosma. Helped on there by Butcher as far as Paul Smith. Ricochet there, it's turned in by McCall, and Dunfermline are back on level terms. Has to take on Wilson. Great cross from Johnston. The goal which has been threatened throughout the second half is delivered by Maurice Johnston. So the striking partnership pays off again for Rangers. Walters again trying to test Tom Wilson, this time going inside, brought down from the rear, and that is a penalty kick. 3-1 to Rangers. That should clinch it. And fitting that Walters should get his name in a score sheet.
August, of course, is the month of the Skull Cup, the trophy that's been at Ibrox so often it could walk up the marble staircase and find the trophy room itself. The first game against East Stirling was a decided formality it was supposed to be, with Mark Hateley notching 2. Kelly, however, proved more stubborn. It took a late Maurice Johnson goal to pull Rangers through. Next opponent, Raith Rovers, in the 4th round, and Rangers got a very early fright. Raith were obviously not here just to spectate. Rangers, aroused from their slumbers, struck back. Peter Houstra was beginning to show watch the ball to Ali McCoist and, of course, the finish. And the usual delight. In the second half, the floodgates really opened after the well-kent Red Hare got Rangers second. Terry Butcher's embarrassment was short-lived. If you've got to come back from an own goal, this is perhaps the best way to do it. He had salvaged himself in the space of a couple of minutes. Terry, though, was still struggling to find his true form after a hectic World Cup, and injury had taken toll of his fitness. On to the semi-final, Hampden Park on the 26th of September. One very important individual was missing. The Rangers club captain, Terry Butcher, dropped and an absentee from the game altogether. But there was still plenty of international class to catch the eye.
I know there was a feeling in England that Trevor Steven was a little lightweight to play in the centre of midfield, but Andy, I've always liked to see him play in there.
Yes, and he's always felt that eventually that would be his best position. I know a lot of people down south watching tonight, many Everton supporters will find it strange to see him in that position, but I know even from Everton days there that he did feel that that was his best position. He eventually wanted to find himself in there, and I think to be playing in Scotland at the pace the game's played it in there shows that he can do it.
I suppose as far as playing for England, though, his best chance is still to play wide on the right. But look at him through the middle here. Trevor Steven! It's a fabulous goal! And that gives him all the evidence he needs to say, play me there. That's what I can do for you.
So Trevor Steven had turned in one of the best midfield performances in years. He was underlining his importance as the man who gave his club real quality. Onwards now to the final. The opponent Celtic, the date the 28th of October, and with it its usual degree of controversy.
Hateley, the through ball from Hurlock. Bonner's come, McCoist. Oh, and the referee rules that that's a dive. And it's a throw, and McCoist is furious.
Yes, you see he's saying unbelievable to the referee, and I must admit I thought that when I thought seeing it right off, I thought it was a penalty.
Collins to take the corner. Oh, and it's turned in by Elliott! Celtic have scored! McCoist, Walters, 1-1! Absolutely no chance for Bonner.
It's a good little move, and for once Mark Haley gets down, finds Ali McCoist, and Mark Walters punishes them badly for some slack marking and buries it right in the corner.
Yet again, the final was to go into extra time. Rangers had pulled themselves back into contention. They'd already been through this in their famous final with Aberdeen in 1987, and Celtic had endured the agonies of extra time and penalties in the Scottish Cup final. The strain was telling, and the Rangers' defence, especially Woods, had to be in fine form.
Jekanovski. What a wonderful save by Woods. Some clever contributions, denying his inexperience. Oh, and is it in? It is! It's Richard Gough who came round the back.
Richard Gough had just reasserted himself in the best possible way as Rangers leader. He had scored many an important goal for the club, but none quite so vital at a time when the team was going through a period of readjustment. It's a mark of a quality player that he can pop up when least expected, like this.
Come on, he says. And he set the example. The Rangers have won. Richard Gough has done it. And the pain of the past few days is forgotten.
Rangers had lifted the trophy for the 17th time, a record. The triumph was also a reflection of the strength and resilience of the Rangers pool. You could certainly sense that the captaincy of the club was something Gough would not relinquish at all easily, and that he might make a habit of doing this. The manager in a fit of sheer delight. He had crafted another famous victory. But the league was still the serious business, and an indication of Rangers' hunger for the title was to be in evidence at Tynecastle on the 8th of September.
Good play by the Dutchman, and a goal for Rangers! 21 minutes gone here at Tynecastle. Marvellous play by Rangers. Peter Houstra showing why Graham Souness splashed out £300,000. And that already looks a bargain. The man from FC 20 Enschede absolutely skimming Walter Kidd, getting the ball to McCoist, taking the return and slotting it past the diving Henry Smith. Johnston, great ball through Kelly McCoist, he's onside. McCoist must score. Number 2 for Rangers. Here's a chance for Ali McCoist, and McCoist gets his second goal of the game, and number 3 for Rangers.
Rangers were favourites to win the first Old Firm match of the season, and one of their new boys was soon making his impression felt in a game that didn't quite go to plan.
It's going to be taken by Trevor Steven, no let up at all. Bonner coming out, he's in trouble again, there's McCoist. Out as far as Harlock, a delicate little chip. And Bonner is at his best once again, beating that out. Well judged by the referee, David Syme. Here's John Collins. Glancing header! Derek White for Celtic! He's trying to win that from Joe Miller. It's back with Gough. Stephen chests it down to Harlock. Yes! Equaliser for Rangers. Terry Harlock's first goal of the season.
It could have gone anywhere, but it went in. It definitely took a deflection and went in, but it was nice to go in.
How did you feel after that?
Over the moon, you know. I could go anywhere in Glasgow, well, half of Glasgow. But no, I got treated like a lord, you know. It was good.
But there was a setback at Tannadice the following week, after a very fine start.
Good running by Stephen, he wasn't picked up. There's Johnston! Rangers take the lead, and the United defence is caught completely napping.
Terry Butcher, and indeed none of us, was to know that this would be his last game in a Rangers jersey. His exit was a trifle embarrassing. But he'll be remembered for his greatness. He led Rangers to one of the most successful periods in their history and is an Englishman who'll always be welcome back. For 6 weeks later, he was to leave for Coventry, an honorary Scotsman. The next league match found Motherwell typically hard to break down, but perseverance paid off. That great club servant, John Brown, ending off pressure by being tidily on hand for the only goal of the game. This was a position at the end of September. Some familiar names up there, not too many surprises, but still a long, long way to go yet. Man of the month for September, Ali McCoist, of course, for 6 goals and quality finishing. Rangers Football Club have been innovative in their task of facing up to the future. That's why in the realisation of the building of the new spectacular stand, which will consist of seating for another 6,000, 24 new executive boxes and new hospitality facilities, they instituted a debenture scheme and produced a video to explain the bond system, which offers a seat in the new main stand in perpetuity. A monsoon greeted the Valletta men in the European Cup's second leg, with Rangers already 4-0 up. But the foreigners were to suffer another deluge.
Davy Dodds has wasted no time. Another European goal for his record. Maybe more to come. Oh! Spencer! 2-0. Both of the forwards have got one, but it's very precious for a player playing in a competitive game in the first team for the first time. Stephen Walters is round the back. That's one for Johnston. 3-0. Walters, who's also in that category as well. Johnston! Rafa putting his team in trouble. Alstra. It's a penalty. A rare chance, maybe a unique chance.
The thing is, Martin, if you've seen Chris Woods in five-a-side games, he really does fancy himself as a goal scorer. Never plays in goal. He's always up front knocking goals in. This is a test for him.
Well, it's a collector's item, this. Chris Woods for Rangers. Missed it! And that will take some living down. And it's all very congested in the middle. There are players to the left for Rangers. And through the middle. Spencer is one of them. And McCoist! Robertson! Looking up is Maurice Johnston for a hat-trick. He's got...
And then, at last, he came. Oleg Kuznetsov entered the Blue Room at Ibrox on the 18th of October. One of the finest defenders I've ever seen was now in the Rangers blue and made his mark immediately in his first match, the 5-0 demolition of St Mirren. But the following week at Perth, the tall Russian met disaster. It must have been agonising for the defender, but perhaps even as much to the management, who were to see £1.2 million of talent last only one game in 20 minutes before being out for the rest of the season. This is one of the hardest blows Souness has ever had to face up to. So at the end of October, Rangers were trailing the leaders Dundee United by 2 points, but with a game in hand in what looked then a very tight race. Man of the month? Clearly Richard Gough for both his goal and inspiration in the Skull Cup final. Meanwhile, the work on the stand continued apace. This required the maximum attendance for the stadium to be cut to 38,000. But it would give the old traditional stand an entirely updated appearance, whilst the outside of the new structure will still retain the familiar Ibrox profile. Next Hibs on November the 3rd. Rangers were now moving strongly.
He did well. Stephen. It's a great cross by Stephen. And Haley scores! Far post cross. Haley again! Sheer brilliance from Walters. Walters taking on Milne. Chance for Stephen!
Since Graham Souness arrived at Ibrox, Rangers have always been drawn against tough European opposition, and Red Star Belgrade were no exception. Having been beaten 3-0 in Belgrade, Rangers looked to be on a hopeless task against a very talented team, but had always to try to believe in their ability to fight back. But events were not going their way. Back to the league in a stunning 2-1 defeat at the hands of Dundee United, with Rangers' only consolation a superb goal by Ali McCoist. But at Fir Park a week later, Rangers redeemed themselves.
A chance for Walters! Rangers pouring forward, it's Ali McCoist and Johnston! A magnificent goal! Oh, great ball through now to Gary Stevens, he must score! Oh, brilliant goal!
I do obviously like to get forward. My first job is obviously to prevent the other side scoring goals. Anything else is a bonus.
Gary Stevens!
On to Celtic Park on the 25th of November, with Nigel Speckman captaining the side in the absence of Richard Gough.
Oh, there's Maurice Johnston! Opportunism at his best! John Collins. There goes Elliott! Yes! There's Collins, looking for Fulton, who was caught there by Harlock. The referee waves play on as Fulton lies on the floor. The Celtic bench incensed by that as McCoist is in the clear, a chance for Rangers. Here's McCoist, he must score! Rangers take the lead! Ali McCoist gets his 12th goal of the season.
At the end of the month, it was now neck and neck, but Rangers' goal difference was now beginning to be significant. Celtic had now dropped out of the picture, but there was little doubt who Rangers' man of the month was: Gary Stevens. His 2 goals at Motherwell had acted like a tonic on the side. December saw Rangers in rampant form. Their play touched the heights, the goals rained in. Ali McCoist came off the bench against Aberdeen. And weren't Rangers fans delighting? His first expression of joy was topped up later. Ali was trying to prove his point. But Aberdeen were to fight back. Jim Bett was to have an outstanding game, his first penalty coolly taken. But the equaliser late on caused by poor defending. Ali was philosophical.
There are days, like in any other profession, you feel down and you feel things are going against you. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't getting frustrated, Archie. It's nobody's, contrary to what some parts of the media have said, nobody's happy about sitting on the bench at all. And especially when they believe themselves they should be in the starting lineup. But that's just one of these things. The manager at that time saw it in a different way.
This might just be about the best goal Ali has ever scored. Certainly his uncertainty of selection didn't dampen his spirits, and one got the impression he was a determined young man. On the 27th of December, it was announced that Ibrox was to have its first international since 1938, when Russia would play Scotland. On the 29th of the month, Rangers won 2-1 at Tannadice, and they were now beginning to stretch ahead in the league. Early days yet, of course, but again, the goal difference columns looked healthy. December's Player of the Month, Mark Walters. His style was captivating, friend and foe alike. Exactly 20 years ago to the day since the Ibrox disaster, Chairman David Murray unveiled a plaque in commemoration of the dead. This touching ceremony preceded the Rangers-Celtic game, which was itself prefaced by a silence.
Off goes Haitley on the run, followed by Derek White. Good tackle that by White. Well, he clearly thought the last touch was by Haitley. The linesman disagreed. There's Walters. An awkward one, straight into the net! Walters has scored for Rangers. What a remarkable corner kick, right out of the blue.
Yeah, that was a good goal. I mean, I'd love to say I meant to score direct from the goal kick, but if I'll be truthful with myself, it was a fluke. I meant to ping it to the near post, and as I've done that, the turf has just caught my studs and it's made it swerve into the net. I mean, a goalkeeper of Patty Bonner's stature would be disappointed with conceding that goal. But I must admit, it was pleasing at the time, without a doubt.
Referee not interested in appeals for a penalty though, as Walters breaks for Rangers. Walters again, to Sandy Robertson. Beaten to that by Grant, but here's Robertson now with a great chance for Rangers. Taking on Bonner, pulling it back for Haitley. Sandy Robertson will enjoy seeing this again. 19 years old, remember. Look at the way he took on the goalkeeper, pulled that back into the path of Haitley with such accuracy. The 2-0 to Rangers, and Mark Haitley gets his second goal courtesy of Sandy Robertson.
Then at Tynecastle on January the 5th, the sort of goal a manager dreams about. The game looked to be heading for a draw, a point down the drain, then 3 minutes to go, this amazing passing movement.
They're going to be under pressure now from Rangers in these closing stages. They have the bit between their teeth. The extra man, of course. Gary Stevens left there by Walters. Haitley now to Johnston. Walters getting the ball in. It's Haitley! And Rangers have scored!
One of the most pleasant moments of the season was the long-awaited comeback of Ian Durrant in the reserves. Almost 15,000 supporters turned up at a reserve match to welcome him.
I don't think the crowd didn't know it was a 2 o'clock kickoff, so they sort of turned up late. I mean, they turned up in thousands, and I was really surprised, but I was glad to see the way they turned out.
Did it give you a boost?
It did at that time, because I was starting to get my first breath in the game, my first game back. Then when I seen the crowds come in, it gave me an extra lift.
How much do they mean to you, honestly?
Well, I've been a supporter all my life now. I know what it's like, so once you play for the Rangers now, the supporters mean so much to you now, like an extra goal for you. Hopefully last start.
In the third round of the Scottish Cup, Rangers drew Dunfermline at home.
And Rangers are ahead. Taking on Sharp. Whipping in the cross, it's a brilliant finish
In the league in January, Rangers were stretching ahead of Aberdeen and looking in a much stronger position for the home run. Dundee United were being left well behind. Man of the month, Mark Hateley. Any goal by a striker is a good one, I suppose, but late winners have a special significance. On February 9th, Ali McCoist got into the starting lineup for the first time in 12 games. The selection paid dividends. And he was in the mood the following week against Motherwell.
I've been looking for Boyd, but succeeds only in finding Stevens. Here's McCoist. That's a great effort by McCoist! Sheer genius from McCoist! Still looking for the chance to clinch the match. There's Hateley! Absolutely magnificent, that finish from Hateley.
Against Cowdenbeath in the next round of the Scottish Cup, Nisbet's goal was a pick in the 5-0 win. There was a big change now in the look of the league. Anybody looking at that would have imagined the title to be in the bag. Aberdeen with a game in hand, trailing Rangers by 8 points. And United were now completely out of it. Man of the month, Chris Woods, who went through the whole of January and almost the entire month of February without conceding a goal. But beware the Ides of March and the penalty of missing vital chances at Pittodrie.
And Hateley was inches away. Challenge, there's Maurice Johnston. Couldn't quite get up high enough for that. So disappointed. Connor drops back to take the pass from McLeish. Bet on the far side. Very clumsy challenge by Hoystra again. He has been putting himself about since he came on. There's Irvin. Wasn't quite what it was intended. David Robertson plays it in. There's Hillhouse! Aberdeen on ahead!
However, Rangers straightened themselves out with a 2-1 win over Hearts at Ibrox. But in the space of a crucial 8 days, they were to lose to Celtic in both the Cup and the League, lose Trevor Stephen for the rest of the season through serious injury, and have 3 players suspended, Walters, Hateley and Hurlock. Even Ali McCoist was disciplined for going to Cheltenham. But despite all that, there was still humour in the camp.
I get disciplined for going to the races. And I was actually up in the chip shop, my local chip shop, coming home that night. And a wee East Kilbride punter walks out with his fish up on his bottle of Amber and he says, by the way, he says, you were the only Rangers player at the races that day. Good humour, you know.
Johnston, Hateley's onside, so another marvellous save, but here's Gary Stevens! A magnificent strike by Gary Stevens. 60 minutes gone, Gary Stevens gets his 4th goal of the season.
March had come in like a lion for Rangers, but was going out like a lamb. For Aberdeen were now too close for comfort. But in the 2-horse race developing, Rangers were still considered favourites. Man of the month, Trevor Stephen. His great goal against Hearts and the recognition of his vital influence in Rangers when he was playing notched him the award despite that injury. Ian Durrant came back against Hibs. The delight at that was supplemented by his vital contribution. But Rangers were to drop a point. The race was getting tighter. In the following week against St Johnstone, Durrant got one of the sweetest rewards of all for the pain he had suffered by leading the way in a handsome victory. There was also great delight for another youngster. John Spencer scoring his first ever league goal. And goals, of course, were getting very important. Peter Hoostra scoring the last one. The 16th of April. It was to be Graham Souness's last day at Ibrox. The news had broken suddenly that he was taking the Liverpool job. It took everybody by surprise. Players, directors, supporters and press. Certainly, Rangers supporters had been geared up to expect the manager to stay a little bit longer. It was as sensational a piece of news as that which announced Souness's arrival at the stadium 5 years previously. He had made a lot of headlines, but none more sensational than these.
This is a time for everybody at Rangers to pull together and ensure we win this championship. Because the one thing we'll always remember is no man is bigger than Rangers Football Club, whether it be Graham Souness, David Murray or anybody who plays here. The most important thing is, as I said already, is to win this league and deliver for the supporters something that they've supported both Graham and the rest of us on the board so much in the past. Prepared to take a few questions.
3 days later, David Murray sat at the same table with a different announcement.
I'm delighted to confirm today that Walter Smith will be the new manager of Rangers Football Club.
Walter Smith, lifelong Rangers supporter, had realised the greatest ambition of his life.
I've been a supporter of Rangers for a great number of years now, and it's obviously a great honour for me to accept the position and hope that I can take the club to the success that they deserve.
On that same day, and in keeping with Rangers' buoyant commercial image, Ian Skelly announced a major new car sponsorship worth £4 million. And then to Walter Smith's first game as Rangers manager. He'd started out in the stand, but as the minutes ticked away with the score still nothing each, he had to get a closer look.
Good Harlock, good play by Terry Harlock. He has Gary Stevens on the right. There's Robertson. Yes, he scored, Rangers! It's a brilliant finish by the youngster.
Then in midweek, the vital Dundee United game at Ibrox.
Here's Haitley again coming across for the throw, the near post. Headed away there by Clark. There's the header and the breakthrough at last.
Every manager needs a powerful man at his elbow. Rangers chose one of the most respected coaches in the business, Archie Knox, plucked from a very productive partnership with Alec Ferguson. But just how long did it take him to make up his mind to go to Ibrox?
That was more or less instant. Whenever I spoke to Walter and I knew what his plans were for the club, and the club has been for the last 4 or 5 years, and how they're looking ahead to the thing, then it was too big a challenge to turn down.
But it was now getting too close for Rangers' comfort. From an almost unassailable lead only a few weeks before, the gap had been whittled down to 2 solitary points. Not much of a leeway, and putting the strain on everyone. It certainly didn't show on the nerve of Ian Durrant, delighting the capacity Ibrox crowd against St Johnstone when he scored his first goal since returning to the first team. Off the field, Rangers continued with a commercial drive. The Rangers Roadshow, hosted by John Gregg, has attracted supporters all around the country. In the Falkirk Town Hall, for example, a huge crowd of 1,000 turned up to hear about the new bond issues and what they meant. The second last game of the season at Fir Park, with not a ticket to spare. Aberdeen at home to St Johnstone, the supporters there had their eyes on the game and ears on the trannies.
Oh, great save by Maxwell. Spackman's shot taking out his wicket deflection. Goalkeeper laying it into the near post. Driven forward. John Philliban. Walters with the corner. The downward header. Mo Johnston's in there. What another marvellous save by Alistair Maxwell. Well, Rangers just... Walters with the corner. Nisbet off the bar. Headed away by Griffin. Robertson shot right into the hands of the goalkeeper. Spackman. Ball in looking for Johnson. He gets the touch on. Down goes. Housed by the referee awarding the penalty kick against Maxwell. Oh, and he's missed it.
Well, when you lose, I think when you're at that stage of a championship, and it probably filters through to players on the pitch that Aberdeen were winning, and you're a goal down, and we'd missed a penalty kick, and making 1 or 2 tactical changes in the team, and you get players caught out of position, you lose a couple of goals in the last 4 minutes. So that was a bit tough to handle.
2-0 down, they were still in the driving seat until this happened.
Again, Rangers stretched. It's Arnott again. Chris Wood's committing himself. And he scored! It's 3-0 to Motherwell.
For almost the entire season, Rangers had led the field. Now, one game left, they'd been deposed. There could hardly have been such a challenge to the club in the league before. A title most people thought was in the bag months ago looked about to slip away, as Aberdeen needed only 1 point to take the flag. The last time a Scottish championship had been decided on the last day was in 1965, when Hearts played Kilmarnock at Tynecastle and the visitors took both points in the title, so anything was possible. That's why Ibrox could have been sold out 4 times over for this match.
The most eagerly awaited moment in Scottish football for a very long time has arrived. The biggest showdown perhaps in league history, with the two top sides clashing. Remember, a draw would give the title to Aberdeen. Now Spackman on the break for Rangers. Switching play to the left for Cowan. He's brought down by Van de Ven, and he will also be booked. So here's John Brown with the free kick. Ryan Grant lets that run for Van de Ven. This is McKimmie. Good play from Aberdeen. Now Wright. Just pushing the ball too far ahead, allowing Cowan to make that tackle. He's a very good defender, Tom Cowan. That's why he's been preferred in the side to Chris Vinicombe, I think. Vinicombe perhaps having the edge in the attacking sense, but there's Hillhouse to Jess. Hillhouse again, well tackled by Cowan. It breaks for Van de Ven. The alley cross finds Connor on the left. Back for Jim Bett. Trying the shot on the half volley. Couldn't quite get there as early as he would have liked to take it on the full volley and keep the shot down. But it was a fine move from Aberdeen. There's Robertson. Appeared to be caught there by Johnston, yes. The heels were caught by Maurice Johnston. Well, the pitch has been very heavily watered for this afternoon's match, and it certainly has done the trick because conditions underfoot are excellent. All the players playing in their normal studs, and that's a rare treat at this stage in the season. Rangers with the advantage of the wind in the first half. Up goes Jess. Here's Robertson. Well tackled by Nisbet. Now Spackman. McKimmie reacting quickly. There's a chance for Van de Ven going through, and it's Woods on the penalty spot for the save. And having assessed the pattern of play, Walter Smith has decided that Tom Cowan should be withdrawn and Ian Durant should replace him. Cowan injured, unable to continue. He was taken off the field a few minutes ago. There's McKimmie playing the ball to the far side, trying to get it beyond John Brown. Here's Stephen Wright. The option provided by Van de Ven on the outside. There's Hillhouse, and the best chance of the match so far falls to Hans Hillhouse. It was just a fraction too high for the Dutchman. Play. Ferguson. Across it goes to Stevens. Always wants to check onto his right foot though, Gary Stevens. Interception made by Wright. Here's Ferguson. Hustled all the way by Grant. Kimmy's clearance. Walters wants to bring the ball down and take on Wright. Going for the early cross. There's Hateley. It's a magnificent goal for Rangers. 5 minutes from half-time and Ibrox erupts. It's just about the first time in the match Mark Hateley's had the better of Alec McLeish. It was a delightful cross and a masterly finish. Set up here by Walters. Good decoy runs made there, notably by Gary Stevens. That ball flighted across. And this is Mark Hateley at his very best. And what a double! Well, a goal of genuine quality. And Rangers now go back into the championship driving seat. Last attack of the first half. What a moment it would be if Aberdeen could equalise. Played in by Bet, headed out by Brown. Here's McKimmie. Back it goes to David Robertson, and that indeed was the last attack of a tumultuous first half. A match full of tension, but Mark Hateley has settled things undoubtedly for Rangers with a glorious headed goal after 40 minutes, set up by Mark Walters. Rangers had territorial advantage throughout the first half. Aberdeen coping extremely well defensively until that inspired goal from Hateley. So at half-time at Ibrox, it's Rangers 1, Aberdeen 0. As the final 45 minutes of the league season starts, and there could still be immense drama to come. If the score stays the same, remember, Rangers are the champions, so Aberdeen require a score if they are to retain any chance at all. Connor impeded there by Nisbet. Referee Brian McGinley goes trotting across to the Rangers defender. He has a word with him at long range. Free kick's already taken. Aberdeen starting with some purpose. The tackle came from Harlock and Bet. Bet wasn't entirely happy with the quality of the pass. This is Johnston. Hateley had to come back to remain onside. Connor wins it for Aberdeen. There's no free kick. Johnston took a knock there. Going to catch an arm in the face. A push forward. Touched on by Hillhouse. There's Harlock. A long chase on. McKimmie nods it back. Good defending there by McKimmie. Despite the attentions of Hateley, he kept his eye on the ball. A foul's been given to Aberdeen for the challenge by Hateley. Hateley getting up again. At least didn't follow him that time. Here's Connor. Laying it up the line for Booth. The layup was intended for McKimmie, but he's released Johnston. Hateley waits in the middle. He will look to be offside. Well, the referee's allowed the goal. And Rangers are 2 in front. The error made in defence by Scott Booth. Chris Woods is celebrating. So too the Rangers supporters. Mark Hateley gets his second. Well, here was Johnston. Now Hateley appeared to be to go into an offside position behind Alec McLeish as the shot was released by Johnston. Watt couldn't hold it. It bounced away from him, and Hateley was first to react to turn the ball into the net. Well, here's Johnston again, playing that beyond McLeish, blocked by Watt. Well, Hateley in a suspiciously offside position. Brown did well. That's right. Chase for Booth. Stevens should be quick enough for this. Indeed he is, and skillful enough. Here's Harlock, tackled well by Grant. Breaks for Bet. Angling that across for Van der Ark. Nisbet did well. There goes Brian Grant. An offside flag up against Van der Ark, I think. And John Brown has gone down very awkwardly indeed. Will be a free kick to Rangers when everything settles down, but John Brown clutching his left calf. Well, that's an area where cramp is frequently a problem. Well, very sad moment for Brown and for Rangers. McCoist has now gone on though to a tremendous welcome. So the alterations being made involve Gary Stevens joining Nigel Spackman in central defence, Terry Harlock going to left back, McCoist going up front with Hateley, and Johnston dropping back into midfield beside Ian Ferguson in the middle. Looking for McCoist through the middle. The marker is Robertson. That's good play by McCoist. Needed some help though, didn't have any. So Aberdeen have survived that attack. Now they come forward themselves. They must take great credit for the way in which they maintained their effort right to the end. Never at any stage has the towel gone in. Here's Hillhouse, stopped by Stevens. And was he fouled outside the penalty area? Yes, by Harlock. It's a free kick to Aberdeen. So a late opportunity for what surely would only be a consolation goal for Aberdeen. Here's Jim Bett waiting for McLeish to arrive. Over it goes. And still the Rangers defence coping well with all these Aberdeen attacks. Every eye now on the referee as the ball is out of play, waiting to see if Brian McGinley will bring this match to an end and make it formally Rangers Championship. There it is! Rangers have won the championship. So Rangers have won the championship thanks to 2 goals from Mark Hateley. One 5 minutes before half-time, a header from the Walters cross, and then 10 minutes into the second half, Michael Watt couldn't hold a shot from Maurice Johnston, and Mark Hateley made it 2. Aberdeen then had no answer. They battled all the way to the end. Rangers defended extremely well despite losing Tom Cowan in the first half and John Brown in the second through injury, but Rangers in the end running out excellent winners and proving themselves to be genuine champions after this very long season. But Aberdeen deserving tremendous credit for their contribution to the championship race.
The vanquished and the victors. Pictures which tell their own stories of defeat and triumph. For Walter Smith, it was relief as well as elation. Pent-up emotion is hard to keep to yourself. And for Ali McCoist, well, perhaps one of his most emotional moments. For the 3rd year in a row, Rangers had won the championship, and the crowd awaited the victors for what had been the closest and hardest fought campaign of them all. Now it was time to relax and enjoy the fruits of the great support they had given the team on the day of their greatest test. Nigel Spackman captaining Rangers in the absence of Richard Gough, displaying the joy which summed up how every other player felt. But it had been a special day for a man who had to work hard to win the affection of the supporters this season. For Mark Hateley made the difference between winning and Aberdeen getting that point, with the instinct of a great striker, which he had conclusively proved he was on the day.
I think all strikers dream of scoring important goals, and I think if you ask for strikers, all goals are important, but especially last game of the season, needing to win. You know, scoring when we did just before half-time was an important goal for me.
Well, that was a beautiful ball that was sent across for you, but nevertheless you had to still do a bit of work to get up for it.
Yeah, I saw it pretty early, so I sort of took Alex in a yard and then came back a yard just to give myself half a yard, and fortunately for me, paid off. Beat the goalkeeper.
Were you surprised by the second one, you know, coming off the goalkeeper as it did?
Yes, I was really, because the shot wasn't all that fierce, and he seemed to go down and have it really comfortably. Whether nerves played a part of it, or you know the occasion got to him, I don't know. But fortunately for me, it came back and ended up in the net.
Well, I mean, it was an amazing game. I wonder if you played the game before where 2 players are stretchered off, you have to change the team twice, and you eventually ended up somewhere left back or something.
Well, I think that sums our season up really. The amount of injuries and suspensions we've had, and it's carried right through to the last game of the season. But I think if you look today at our performance, our whole 13-man performance, you know, we all fought and got together and rallied around.
In charge of a team for only 4 games, Walter Smith remained admirably cool. A good start to the new firm.
Yeah, it was a terrific start. It was one that we both felt that we needed. We came and we were in a situation where we were sitting 4 games to go, and we won the first 2, and Archie arrived. We lost.
Not bad way to start, Archie.
We had to try and overcome that, and obviously we're delighted that we've won that.
You've known each other for a long, long time, Archie, and that must have been one of the reasons why you came here.
Yeah, probably the main reason. Difficult decision to make, when you're at such a big club as Manchester United. To come here then was always going to be a difficult decision, but knowing Walter and knowing that we can definitely work together, and seeing what I've seen today then just confirms that I've done the right thing.
Archie, the goals came at exactly the right time for you, didn't they?
Perfect time. And a goal fit to win a championship, Mark Haley's first goal. Magnificent, great cross, and a tremendous header.
And all you've got to do now, because the job is never finished, is to hold on to that next season, isn't it?
I think Archie will have to hold on to it a bit longer than next season. I think we'll have to be doing this on a regular basis, and hopefully we will.
They stayed on long after the final whistle. This had been as much a triumph in the stands and enclosure as on the field. This was the day the club proved it had a heart that beat in a way which united both supporters and players. It was a feature of the day which Chairman David Murray recognises as perhaps the most important of all in a long, hard haul.
Well, what a season, a remarkable one. We were vulnerable, but we were never beaten. Rangers Football Club is the biggest club in Britain and one of the biggest in Europe. And I am sure, like me, we're all very proud to be associated. To be at that day we'll remember for the rest of our lives. Remember the great experiences, the great events. You knew where you were on that day. You'll know where you were on that day when Rangers won the championship against all the odds. And everyone, both on and off the park, and our supporters, we can't thank enough. A remarkable day. But let's not look back. Let's look to the future. We have a new management team at Ibrox. I'm sure there'll be new players on the park, and I know you'll be there to support the club as we go on to retain our championship and once and for all make our mark in Europe. We're all high at Ibrox, and I'm sure when the season starts, we'll all be there together rooting for the boys. The new stand's going, sponsors, season tickets, everyone's behind the club. But we thank you, a special word of tribute to you, the fans. You've been remarkable. You've been behind us. You've been the inspiration. Thanks very much.